UK. And before we get to talking about politicians on holiday during a pandemic, the Storm Francis is blowing an absolute gale right now. We are expecting winds of up to 65 miles per hour inland. Campers are already having to be rescued by coast guards and other emergency services, and it's really sort of the most exciting weather that we've seen in quite some time. But needless to say, there have been some fatalities during the current storm, so do be safe if you're in the UK and you are out and about, because I wouldn't like to be exposed too much in a storm of this severity. We don't tend to get them that bad in the UK, but this one does seem fairly powerful. But anyway, enough of Storm Francis. I want to talk today about whether it's okay if politicians whether it's okay for politicians to go on holiday during a crisis. Now, we heard recently that Boris Johnson cut his holiday short. I think he packed up after 3 days of holidaying in Scotland, I believe. Now, he didn't come back because of any sort of news event. He came back because the location where he was staying was actually revealed. So he packed up his tent and left. He was going away with his fiancée Carrie Symonds and their baby Wilfred. But after some photos were published in the media of his cottage where he was staying and his tent, they cut their family trip short and returned home. This is after advice, it's been reported, over some safety concerns from bodyguards. He only spent 3 days on holiday. Now, also, the Education Secretary of State for Education, Gavin Williamson, has been forced to defend his holiday that he took. Now, it's been reported by the Sunday Times newspaper that he cancelled a critical meeting before the A-level scandal, which I've been talking so much about. So the Education Secretary cancels a meeting in the run-up to the A-levels results being released. Thousands of pupils had their results downgraded dramatically, many missing out on university places. And he was on holiday in Scarborough, and he actually tweeted, let me just bring it up here and I can tell you what he said. So he defended his holiday on Twitter. He said that I cancelled our family holiday abroad this year to focus on the challenges that COVID-19 created for the education sector. Over the summer, I went to see family in Scarborough for the first time since lockdown, and while there, I was in constant communication with the department. Now, obviously, people are very angry that he cancelled this meeting and then went on holiday in the run-up to, such an important time, not just for the education sector, but the people in receipt of the education sector, the actual students that were waiting on their A-level results, the GCSE students that got their results after that. Now, there has been many calls for his resignation, which, at the minute he is resisting. Pupils were out protesting in Westminster and in front of his actual department building because of that algorithm that disproportionately downgraded students at disadvantaged schools. And then, the U-turn that happened after he and Boris Johnson, stood by the results that were given by this algorithm. They both said that they were robust when in fact, as we have seen, they obviously weren't, because the algorithm disproportionately downgraded students' grades if they came from a more disadvantaged area. During this time, he didn't schedule a regular meeting with school leaders where they'd been due to discuss a return to the classroom for children in September. Now, that's according to the Sunday Times newspaper. You know, just to build upon the schools topic, we are seeing Scottish kids now having to wear masks in schools if they are above the age of 5 in corridors and communal areas. The Welsh government has said today that they are considering it. Vaughan Gething, the part of the Welsh government, has said that he's talking to a scientific advisory board. And you know, if we are, you know, if history is going to repeat itself, then we are likely to see a similar announcement from the English government, number 10, on the same topic, because the Welsh and Scottish governments decided to go with teacher predicted grades, and then at the very last moment we saw British schools doing that too, after the government finally backed down from all the pressure and made yet another U-turn in, you know, what's been several months of several U-turns. They must be very dizzy, those ministers, after all that turning on their heels. Let's just take a look at the comments and see who's joining us. Smithy Small says, "You are breathtaking." Thank you. And Dalton says, "Pip pip and cheerio." Hey Dalton, thank you for tuning in. If you are watching today, we want to know, what I want to know is if it's ever okay for a senior government minister to be taking a holiday during a pandemic. Boris Johnson cut his holiday to Scotland short, his staycation, not because he wanted to get back to sort out the schools and exams situation, but because his security was at risk, because the location where he was staying was leaked by a newspaper. Pictures were published, and he returned from his holiday because there were safety concerns. And Gavin Williamson, the education secretary here in the UK, was defending a holiday that he took to Scarborough, and due to that holiday he cancelled a meeting with school leaders where he was due to discuss a return to the classroom for children in September. They're due to go back next week, and this was the week before the exams fiasco, the A-levels scandal, where hundreds of thousands of students had their exam grades marked down because of an algorithm that disproportionately marked down students if they were from disadvantaged schools. So is it ever okay for politicians to go away during, you know, a crisis that we've not seen in any of our lifetimes? We've not seen a global pandemic like this in, you know, since 1914, was it, the Spanish flu? So let me know, what do you think? Is it okay for leading politicians to go on holiday when many people are facing losing their jobs, when crisis after crisis is needing to be handled by these politicians? Or is it understandable that leading politicians who, let's face it, have a lot on their plate, you know, at the best of times, and now it's, you know, their workload is even more dramatically increased? Is it understandable that they should go on holiday? Let me know in the comments section below. Now, you can maybe hear behind me just how windy it is right now. I am sort of by the coast, actually, where I live. I'm by the Bristol Channel, and the weather tends to get quite dramatic around here, especially when the wind picks up. You can only go down. Dalton says, "Me mum wouldn't even let me pop out for a spot of tea." Well, there is a global pandemic on, but actually in the UK, the government is encouraging all to go out and you know, get the economy back up and running. We have a Dine Out to Help Out scheme where Monday to Wednesday, actually this is the last week of it, Monday to Wednesday in August, you can get 50% off up to a total value of £10 on restaurant food. So it's actually quite cheap to head out, and you don't get the discount on the tea because it's a drink, but head out to go to a restaurant or a cafe or something like that to get the economy back up and running. So the government is saying, get out and enjoy food again. I, for example, have done it twice. I actually did it twice on 2 days. It's really difficult to get into a restaurant right now. It's really difficult to book a table because everyone wants to go out and make use of this offer before it runs out. So tomorrow, Wednesday, I believe, is the last day of the Dine Out to Help Out scheme. I'm going to do my best to try and get my last 50% off. I went to Wagamama's, and with a couple of friends, we spent around, over £50 together, and the bill after the discount was just over £30. So that should give you an idea of just how good it is to eat out here in the UK. But people still are avoiding restaurants, because obviously the R number, as I've reported previously, is thought to be above 1 in some areas, as much as 1.1, 1.2 in some areas. So some people are still staying away. But, if you just walk around a shopping mall, you can see the queues for places like Nando's, Wagamama's, Yo Sushi, the popular restaurants. People are definitely trying to get out and make use of this deal. But let's return to what we wanted to talk about in this live broadcast today. Is it ever okay for leading politicians and prime ministers to go on holiday during a global pandemic? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. Stay tuned to my HAPS account if you haven't followed me on there already. I've got a video coming up today in the next few hours talking about the current situation in schools, what's going on there. Are we likely to see masks in English schools as well as Scottish and Welsh schools? The Welsh government has announced today that they're considering it, they're reviewing it, and Scottish schools, it's been announced today, students will have to wear masks if they're above the age of 5 in corridors and communal areas from next Monday. So if our government's behaviour in the last few weeks is anything to go by, we are probably going to hear that announcement sometime soon, because Welsh and English schools are due to go back next week sometime. But that is all from me for now. Don't forget to follow me on HAPS for all the latest updates coming out of the UK, and I will see you in another broadcast sometime soon. Thanks for watching.